I've got a 4-year-old and 1-year-old.
The usual setup will start with James Cole from the BBC, from Sky, Joe Wilson from the BBC, and then we'll open it up to everyone else. We'll do a written UK afterwards as well. Yes, would you mind just shutting that door for us? Thank you. Cameras all good at the back? James, go ahead.
Ben, 2-1 down, 2 to play. How confident do you feel, and the guys feel, that you can level the series here?
Yeah, we're confident. Yeah.
Good mood in the dressing room?
Yeah, good mood. It was obviously a nice break in between this game and getting here, so everyone's had a good time to get away, refresh, and get the bodies back in some kind of decent order after pretty intense game 2 and game 3.
A lot of people have been looking at the weather forecast. It doesn't look great for days 4 and 5. Have you looked at that at all? Does that come into your thinking as to how you approach this game?
Yeah, I mean, look, you never want to sort of look too much into the weather, but I think in the position that we find ourselves in, we sort of find we might have to. We know we have to win this game to take it to the last game for us to have a chance of getting the own back. So going into the last game, we were 2-0 down. We knew we had to win that. So I think that sort of helped us a little bit. And maybe again with the weather that's predicted, that it might bring sort of, more out of us again, knowing that we might have to push the game on even more than we normally do. But we'll just have to wait and see. And if the weather is what it's like and what it's predicted to be, then we might have to.
Even more attacking?
Again, we'll have to wait and see.
And in terms of the momentum of this series, do you feel it's been a slight shift with what happened at Headingley, the run chase, Australia losing Nathan Lyon?
No, I don't know. I think it's been... look, we lost Leachy before the series started, so it's been one of those where both teams have sort of had to rejig a few things. Look, I think all 3 games were so tight, and then for us to get over the line in that one at Headingley, again it's just been a great 3 games to be a part of. I don't think me and Pat want them going too close again like that, because it's a bit does get a bit stressful at times, but again we know that what we need to do. Australia, I don't know if they'll be thinking like that, but they know they don't have to win this. The draw is good enough for them, but we know we have to go out there and try and win it, so we're doing everything we can to do that.
James Anderson comes back in. Is he chomping at the bit after sitting out at Headingley?
Yeah, he is. He's excited. Back here, Old Trafford, bowling at his end that's named after him. I think he's very excited for this week.
He's not hit the form we're used to from James Anderson. Is that any concern for you, though?
No, not at all. I think when you're been a quality performer like Jimmy has for the last 10 years, he is going to be disappointed that he's not contributed to the team like he normally does. But what I did say to him is, even if you're not taking wickets like you want to be doing at the other end, just think about the pressure that you're putting on the opposition and the wickets that we take in the partnerships that you're bowling in. Obviously his economy rate and his line and length is always immaculate, but he sort of holds an end up without that being his main obligation with the ball. But look, you don't get as many wickets as him without having the odd sort of bad game here and there. There's no issues whatsoever there with Jimmy, no.
And finally for me, how's the knee? How likely that you'll bowl here, do you think?
I will wait and see again. Yeah, hopefully not, because we've got 4 seamers and a spinner.
The rest has helped though?
Definitely has helped. Yeah, it has been a nice break. Those 2 games, obviously back to back, took quite a lot out of us, and obviously Australia as well. So I think both teams have benefited from the break.
Ben, I hear your confidence in winning the series, and I believe it. But what ultimately gives you the confidence in your players that you can win these 2 matches?
I'm confident we've got 11 world-class players in my team.
And I know the series has been very tight, almost unbearably tight, which is great fun to watch most of the time. Do you think over the balance of play that you feel like the better team going into this match?
I think the first 3 games has came down to which team has won the most crucial moments of the game, and they've been towards the back end of the test matches. And we won those moments at Headingley, and Australia were better than us in the first 2 games. But I think in terms of, teams head to head, it's been very sort of even. And just, whichever team and whatever individual has been tasked with those pressure moments that's the reason why they won those games. That's why Australia are 2-1 up, because they won those in the first 2 games. We were able to do it in the last one. So, if it comes down to it again, whoever is better in those moments, I think we'll be winning this game as well.
I know your broader intention is always to make this format of cricket in particular exciting and watchable and engaging for people. Whatever's happened so far, you've done that now. It give you a certain sense of pride that the way that people have been engaged in this series so far.
Yeah, I think it's definitely been noticeable, when we go out in groups, whether it be for coffees or when we're mainly on the golf course, that we have people, come up and just take a moment to say that how much they've enjoyed this Ashes series in particular, and then making comments around family members or friends who haven't had an interest in cricket until now. So those kind of stuff obviously do give you a bit of satisfaction and make you understand that actually the mindset that we have had around our Test cricket over the last 18 months has actually been successful. But obviously, look, I've always said that the result is not the most important thing. The way in which we play our cricket and the way that we take the game on to get the best out of us as a team and as individuals is my main thing. Because if we do play good cricket, then the results will work out for themselves. We're desperate to win the series. We're desperate to win this game. But regardless of where we are at the end of the Oval Test match, this whole period of the way that we've been playing, isn't going to stop there.
And just finally for me, do you think the Australians are more nervous now than they were before heading? Do you think the Australians are a bit nervous now?
Don't know. Actually not giving that a thought, to be honest. Sorry. Yeah.
We'll go Rory, Louis, Bharat, and then Andrew, and then we'll take some more after that.
I think Heather said that she thought that the Women's Ashes series, as it stands, is the best ever Women's Ashes series. Do you think if you could get over the line again here, maybe another tight one, even if you'd rather it wasn't that way, do you think this series is heading in that direction for you guys as well?
Well, I think if we win this one and then go into the last game 2-2, then it'll be hard to not say that this has been the best men's Ashes series in a long time, if not probably the best. I think just overall, the take away Australia and England, just the cricket that's been played has been absolutely brilliant. I think everyone who's watched at the ground or on TV in England or at TV at home have just really enjoyed the cricket that's been played. You've seen some pretty special moments out in the cricket fields. You've seen some very special individual performance as well, and I guess that's what you want from sport.
Louis, go ahead at the back.
Ben, just want to ask you about Manus Shane, who obviously you guys would have given a lot of thought to how you bowled to him before this series. You've made a lot of starts in the series. Is it kind of a point of pride that you guys have managed to get him out after taking so many starts?
Well, I think when you get any of the best players in the world out, regardless of what they are, you're happy. But I don't know. We obviously have managed to do something right to not allow Manus to go on and make those big scores like he's been able to do in his career so far. So, you don't read too much into stuff like that against world-class players. There's a reason why he averages 55 in Test cricket. It's because he's a quality player. I think we've just been really good at what our plans and everything that we stuck to with him. So hopefully we can do the same, and hopefully he doesn't get a big one this week.
Barrett, go ahead. Then we'll go Andrew McGlashan.
Ben, you spoke last week about some philosophy that you've built this team on, having selfless cricketers, but does that also extend to you giving a lot, you as a team management giving a longer rope to your players as well, say a couple of failures here and there, and you still back them? For example, Jonny Bairstow has not had a flash series behind the team.
Look, I think even going back to when I picked the first squad as captain, we picked a group of players who we thought were the best to be able to play in this manner. There's been a few changes here and there, but when you pick a team, when you pick a player to go out and do a role which you see that person best doing, then you stick with them and back them. But look, I'm not worried about Jonny. It's all sort of external noise to me and the team inside. I thought even as ready to get 70 first test match as well, just knocks like that down the order are absolute gold dust. He's not managed to go in and put a performance in with the bat like he's wanted to, but it's there. And I think everyone in here knows as well that, Jonny Bairstow, when he gets going, is something to watch. And again, we pick teams and we pick players for what they can do on their best days.
Andrew, and then we'll go David.
And just to follow up on the Marnus question from before, and the role that Mark Wood played for you last week, he didn't get Marnus or Steve out, the wickets came in the end. Was that a lot of because of what Mark was able to provide you in terms of pressure and maybe roughing them a little bit? And do you envisage using Mark in a similar way this week, like 4 over spells, if you can ideally do that?
Yeah, I think having pace is a massive advantage for any team, and it definitely does. When you have someone bowling like Woody as fast as he does, and the partnerships that you have as a bowling group, it's amazing that Woody might not be the one getting wickets, but the wickets that can fall at the other end, you put those two together, and that's how you sort of look at it. You can look at 10 over spells, and the person at the other end could get 2 for whatever, and Woody might not get any, but the wicket at the other end definitely sometimes comes from the pressure applied at the other end. Look, I think the way in which I used Woody in the first innings is something that we'll look to do again. I had to use it a little bit differently because we obviously lost Robbo last week, so I had to bowl him a bit more than I probably would have liked to, but his first game back into the team for some time, to get man of the match and put in the performance he did, not only with the ball but with the bat as well, was really good for his confidence. And it's always nice for an individual coming into a series like this to get off to a good start. So be nice to be able to use Woody in short, sharp bursts like I initially planned to in Headingley.
David, go ahead.
I think it's 42 years since England last won an Ashes Test match here at Old Trafford. Do you pay any attention to that?
No. I'm only 32, so I didn't know that.
There's been vocal crowds throughout this test so far. What are you expecting from the Old Trafford crowd?
Yeah, I think it's always a loud atmosphere here. The crowds we get in the north, say north quite bluntly there, is very good. We get a lot of support. And I think it will be another great atmosphere. And even if the weather is like it is, you'll see everyone still staying here, hoping and praying that they get some kind of cricket.
Dan Scott, and we'll finish with Dan Bren.
There we are.
There you are. Stuart Broad and his ability to play through the entire series, that's played sport test. How much of a factor is his fact he's got the wood over David Warner, seemingly, in terms of his continued selection? And do you think he's in David Warner's head a bit at this point?
Look, before the series started, we were, pretty open and honest about a bowling group, saying it's going to be tough for one bowler, or for any bowler, to play all 5 games. I think you've seen that with our rotation. But Broadie's just been in incredible form in these first 3 games, and again, going back to the break we had, has actually came at really good time, especially when you got someone like Broadie's bowled so many overs this series already, so that break would have done him the world of good. But he's been a phenomenal performer so far in the series. I think he's leading wicket taker, is he? Yeah. So it's hard to look past someone like that, and now he's able. Obviously, he's a world-class bowler to left-handers. Everyone knows that, but now he's, before the series started, went away and worked on a new delivery to the right-handers to try and get the ball swinging away. He's actually made him probably even better than what he has been over the last 5 years. So he's been incredible for us, and hopefully he can continue that form this week. But going back to David, seeing the back of Warner early in a test match is always a very nice sight as a captain. because he's a very destructive opening batsman when he gets going. He's very hard to bowl to. He's quite hard to set fields to when he gets in those moods. But we've been lucky that we've actually not let Dave get on top of us yet. But yeah, it's always great seeing the back of Dave early on.
Ben, do you think this is a ground that a team could go into without a frontline spinner, or the way Old Trafford is, do you need to have a frontline spinner in your team? Not, I know you guys have played all week, but obviously Australia.
Generally, I find here the ball does tend to spin towards the back end of the game. So yeah, it's always obviously nice having the option there. But I found we played a game here last year against South Africa, and we actually found that our seamers were probably a little bit more impactful. We managed to get the ball reversing as well, so all those. We'll struggle to get any reverse this week because of how wet the outfield's been. But yeah, you do find that the ball tends to spin towards the back in the Test matches here, whether or not it will because of the weather around. Who knows? But I think every team you do want, to have that option there.
Last one on the
you mentioned about the stresses of the series and the close finishes. How have you dealt with that over the first 3 games? And as a captain, has this series sort of taken you to some places in your head that you hadn't been before in the last year as a captain?
It's more in the moment, to be honest. Like when you can't do anything to affect the game, is probably the worst place to be. When you're sat in the changing room watching the game unfold, is the worst place for it. Yeah, that run chase at Headingley didn't. Well, I obviously enjoyed it, but also didn't at the same time because I was done. I couldn't do anything else more in the game. So I guess if I wasn't captain, would I have those feelings? Probably yes, but maybe not as much. Yeah, it was a tough half an hour watching that. But once all the emotion and all that kind of stuff's gone because the game's ended, you're pretty chilled. Yeah.
Brilliant, thank you. Cheers, mate.
Thanks, Charles.
Thank you.